we are going to put together today a delicious apple pie jam. Now, can you taste that already? It's going to be soft, it's going to be sweet, and it's going to go on any type of bread, or it can go with your ham. You can even use it as somewhat of a marinade on your pork. So let's get to it. Today, we're going to focus on making some apple jam. And I think that's going to be a very good addition to whatever it is that you have in your refrigerator. You know, when it's apple season, you should make as many appley desserts, jams, dishes, or side dishes as you possibly can. So today we're going to work on that apple jam and see if we can get it just perfect. And I don't know, we might have to put together some biscuits so that we will be able to sample some delicious apple jam. I had an overabundance of Honeycrisp apples, and they were just about to go bad. And so I thought, I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to chop these apples up and make some jam. And you know, actually, when your apples somewhat start to get a little mushy, then you know that they should make really good jam, because at that point they've reached their maximum sweetness. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to get these peeled. We're going to get them chopped. Now, you could certainly grate these. I did not do that. And because I like the chunkiness, and so I use them pretty versatilely. So I'm not sure that's a word, but I do use them quite a bit. And I like to spread the jam over my pork chops before I cook them and put them in the oven. I also like to put them on my biscuits and my toast, as well as I just like the jam, even with oatmeal. So you got lots of options of things that you can do with this apple jam. So we're going to get these cleaned up, get the peels off, get all the area cleaned up. And you know, the sweetness of these apples is going to make your counter very sticky. So I'm going to be using my combination of Dawn, vinegar, and water to clean up everything, so there will be no residue left. I'm Leona Dooley, and this is Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme, where we do things in the kitchen, for the kitchen, and for our family. And I am so glad that you are here with me today. Now, I'm hoping that before you get any further into the video and get into that delicious apple jam, that you are going to stop, click that like button, give me a thumbs up, and hit the subscribe button if you are not already a member of the family. You know, it's really important that you join the family, because then you're able to get everything that I upload. And you know, certainly we're doing some special things for our family, and we are trying to hone our skills as we move through the journey of homemaking and being the home cook. So stay right there, and let's get into this recipe. I'm going to prepare this jam in this non-stick, about 5 to 6 quart pan. And I think doing it in this non-stick pan, that we'll have less of a chance of anything sticking and less of a chance of it burning, as long as I keep the temperature reasonable. So we're going to try to be as careful as possible, get all of the apples in without making a mess. I'm taking you to the stove and we're going to start to add the ingredients that we need. The first thing I'm going to put in is just a tiny bit of water. I'm adding in about a 1/4 cup of water. And once I do that, then I'm going to start to add about a pinch of salt, which is about 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. And I'm using my pink Himalayan just because that's what I have. I'm also going to add in some ingredients that you may not be familiar with, but we are going to place those in for just a few minutes. Now, I've placed the top on the pot because I want it to come up to temperature. Now, I'm going to add some apple cider vinegar. This is Bragg's apple cider, and I'm going to add in about 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. So let's get those in. That's 1. And it's going to help with the color as well as the flavor. That's number 2. And number 3. 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. It's going to give it just a little sharpness. I'm also adding in a couple of teaspoons of apple pie spice. This is 2 teaspoons. That's a 2 teaspoon measure. And I've placed that in, and I don't think I'm going to have to add anything else other than we need about 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. And for this, because it's a 1/2 tablespoon, I'm going to add 2. So that's 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1 whole tablespoon. So we've got our extract in, we have our flavorings in, we've got the vinegar in, and now we need a good wooden spoon so that we can give everything a good mix. This is going to be delicious because you're going to see how quickly the colors are going to change. And you have to be patient when you're making jam. You could certainly put it on high and just stand there and stir and stir and stir. But I like the smell of it. I like for it to smell and to just permeate the air in my house when I'm preparing it. So I usually put it on about a 3 on my electric stove. And that way it comes up to temperature gently. I don't have to worry about it sticking, and it gets the job done. Now this is we're going to add about a 1/2 cup of white sugar first. And because I like the flavor of brown sugar, I'm going to add in just about a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. And if I think I need a little bit more along the way, I can always add more sugar. Because, anytime you're making a jam, it really is about the sugar, because that's what's going to help to make the syrup. It's going to take the syrup, the liquid from the fruit, and of course the sugar itself, and it will develop into a wonderful syrup. And that's what we have to be careful of, and that's why we have to keep stirring and checking on it very often. So we're going to let this continue to get hot, and I'm going to show you along the way what it looks like at its different stages. So I'm starting it with the top just to get it good and hot. Give you a bird's eye view of this pot, because I want you to see what it's going to look like at different increments. You can see that as the apple starts to cook down, that there is going to be a tremendous amount of liquid. I wanted you to see just how liquidy this has gotten. I turned the heat up just a tiny bit, because you do have to be very careful when you're making any type of jam, because of the sugar content. You don't want it to burn. So we're just going to let this continue to cook down. I've taken the top off. The only reason I had the top on to begin with was to get it to come up to temperature. So we're going to let this continue to, basically what it's going to do is to evaporate. And as it cooks down, it's going to start to get very syrupy. And I'll keep you on this journey. Our mixture is really starting to bubble, and that's what we want. But we're going to keep an eye on it and keep a spoon handy, because I want to make sure that there is no sticking on the bottom. If it starts to stick, you want to pull your mixture out of this pot and put it into another one, because you do not want the flavor of burnt apple or burnt sugar in your jam. So you can see that we've got quite a bit of liquid, and all of that needs to cook down. So we're going to be patient. We're going to let it do its thing. Apples already have a lot of pectin, so this is going to get very syrupy and going to be absolutely delicious. I wanted you to have an up close and personal look inside of this pot. It is quite bubbly. You can see that it's somewhat changing colors, and I'm using my whisk just to give it just a little mash, and that's going to kind of help a little bit, because now that the apples are pretty soft, I kept it chunky, but I can control how many chunks there are in this mixture. So that's what I'm doing. I've already seasoned well, and we shouldn't really have to do anything else other than just wait for our mixture to get nice and thick. Our mixture has greatly reduced, and you can see it's at a nice bubble. Now what you're really looking for, so that you know when it's ready, is that you should be able to take your spoon and draw a line in it, and it stays. But as you can see, as I do this, the juices in the apples are filling in that spot. So this is not quite ready yet. Another way to check as to whether or not it's ready is that you can take a metal spoon, put it in your freezer, and when you're able to get your liquid to touch that spoon and stick, and you can take your finger and draw a line in it, just like we're trying to do right here, then you know it's ready. But I'll show you that method as well. So this needs to cook just a little while longer. Oh my goodness, I wish you could smell my kitchen. Notice when I pull my mixture back, we have a trail. And let's see if I can do this just a little bit closer so you can see. Now, what we're looking for is for when you run your spoon back. See that trail? That's what we want. We want to be able to see that path. Now I'm going to test it one more way using an ice cold spoon. I took my spoon out of the freezer, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to run it through the mixture. And we're going to take our finger and run down like that. If it stays in place and it sticks, then you know this is going to set up just right. You still got a little bit of movement, but most of your substance stays right there on the spoon. We can see it. I'm trying to get it close enough for you to see how it stays on that spoon. Now we could probably give this maybe 10 more minutes, but for the most part, your jam is ready. There it is on our spoon. And it stays in place. Got our little track there. I'm going to share this apple jam with some friends. So I have some little jars that I'm going to spoon this mixture into. It's warm but not hot, not extremely hot. So I'm placing it into the jar. I'm going to get the second jar and try to even them out. And of course, then I have to have a jar for me. One for a friend and one for another friend. And one is going to be for the big guy and I. I'm cleaning the tops of the jars with a moist paper towel. And I'm going to put the tops on them. These are little jars that I save. This one is from those diced pimentos that we've used for pimento cheese. And this is going to store in the refrigerator. And then here's jar number 3. So 3 jars of apple jam.
I am so glad that you have been with me here in the kitchen making this apple pie jam. You know, it's always fun to prepare something, not only for yourself, but also for someone else. Now, you know, the recipe will be available so that you can make some apple pie jam for your family. So, I look forward to seeing you in the kitchen and hearing from you in the comment box down below.